Hello, everybody. Hello there. Oh no, I messed up. Okay. Hello there, and welcome to our Time Film Podcast, where we talk film, TV, games, and all that jazz like there's no tomorrow. My name is Tom, and as always, I'm joined with my co-host John.
G'day, it's me, John, the one who's been talking to this guy for how long?
20. Well, I mean, on the pod, 27 weeks. So,
20
yay.
weeks.
In real life, about 11 years. So,
Yeah, 11 years, jeez.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So, today we're going to be continuing on with our Zack Snyder Extravaganza. We're going to be doing Watchmen.
Ooh, yeah, what's Zack Snyder stuff?
We're going to be doing like the final stretch before we get into his DC trilogy.
Yes.
As well as talking about the penultimate episode of WandaVision and a whole slew of news. As always, time codes in the description if you want to bounce around like a
like a ball?
Like a ball, I guess, sure. I felt like I had a really good idea for that, and then it fell to the wayside. Let's get started with some news, shall we?
Yes.
Army of the Dead. So speaking of Zack Snyder, Army of the Dead has got not only a release date of 21st of May, but its first teaser trailer.
Ooh.
Seeing this, obviously being a sequel to Dawn of the Dead, which you can catch on episode 25 of the podcast. See that? Self-promotion. Shameless.
Self-promotion inside the podcast. Inception time. Yeah.
Oh, nice. It seems to be like Vegas, this kind of abandoned Vegas, and a vault full of money that these characters who, it was very light on story details, but there was a lot of cool shots. What did you think of the trailer?
I thought the trailer just looks really awesome. Like, it's going to be a fun film to watch. I like the shot where the helicopter, going around the city. It's like going around the city, and the sun is there. It kind of gives me the apocalypse vibes.
Now, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And the last shot that I really liked when the helicopter's going down somewhere and it's like about to fly. That looks really cool.
I mean, as always, Zack Snyder is a wonderful cinematographer, and there's a lot of really great shots there, which kind of carry his stamp. And I'm really excited to watch this.
I'm very excited. The cool thing about it is that he is taking creative control on the Zack Snyder, and he's not going to on the Snyder Cut, and he's not going to make any money, but I respect him for doing this not for money, but doing it for creative control.
Yeah.
But this for the Netflix one, this looks insane.
It really does, and it's cool that we're seeing because obviously Snyder hasn't done a non-DC film since 2013, so it's been nearly 10 years since he's done. He did Legends of the Guardians, which is his last non-DC film. So it's cool to see him once again kind of come back into the realm of, I guess his roots, his zombie roots, and I think that is going to be really cool.
Yeah, really cool. That's
going
to be it sets in LA. No, Las Vegas.
Yes. Have you been to Las Vegas?
I haven't been to Las Vegas. No, I've only been to LA. That's it.
I see. Yeah. So I've been to Vegas, and I
stuff like all the stuff I've been there.
Well, yeah, it was just really interesting seeing the places that I'd seen and been to, and seeing how it kind of how it had changed from what is like an incredibly busy city to I mean, I guess it's still busy with zombies, but it's a different vibe. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, that's also realistic, like what you said about it's very, very, very busy. So it looks very busy indeed. It's so packed and
yeah, and some of those shots of all the zombies. I mean, I've seen some behind the scenes stuff, and they actually had that's not I mean, it might be some of it CGI, but it is very practical. A lot they're those shots of the zombies absolutely crammed into this space. Those were practical, which I think is really cool. Must have had a lot of extras.
Yeah, very excited for that. May 21st, we're going to be reviewing it as well. So
yes, we are definitely. So another Snyder thing, this time a Zack Snyder's Justice League thing. Every week we have to. There's always something to talk about Snyder Cut. So Variety released a pretty sizable article about how the Snyder Cut came to be, tracing back why Snyder was chosen for Man of Steel, and it talks about his what happened with Batman v Superman and how that impacted Justice League. And I know that you've read this article, right? You read the article.
Yeah, of course.
It was a very emotional and informative article. Loads of stuff about Autumn Snyder and all the stuff that Zack had to go through. Very interesting. That I'd recommend everyone checks it out. But a couple of things that I want to talk about. First of all, Zack confirmed that he isn't getting paid for the Snyder Cut. Originally, they just wanted to release it in its basis form, no CGI, no music or anything, and he said no because, for 3 reasons. He said that it will keep the internet off their back, it will prove that they've been right all along, that it's good, and it will, I can't remember what the third one is, but yeah, so he's not getting paid, and instead the money that would be paying him is being put into his all the CGI and all the different things. I mean, what do you think about this?
That is very I have respect for that. Like he decided to do everything in his power to make this film in his true vision, and he's in creative control. Yeah, it's just very bold. That's very very. I don't know, but this is the massive movie he's making, and he's not making any money. It's like you think, oh, he's not going to make any money, because you think, oh, that's kind of a bit sad, but also he's doing it for the fans. Like he's doing it in creative control. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. I think that's so respectful, and it really goes to show that this is, whether or not the Snyder Cut is good, it is his passion project, and he's got to do it. He's forsaking so much to get here. And I really think that I really respect that he's putting it all out just so he can get the film that he wants to be shown. So he can get it out there, and so we can have the trilogy, whether or not they do Justice League 2 and 3. He can have his, people can see the end of the trilogy, people can see where it was all leading, and then maybe people will go back to Batman v Superman and Man of Steel and seeing it in a new light, very similar to how other films have kind of uplifted older stuff.
Yeah. Like a lot of things, I'm hoping people will see the Snyder Cut and then they go back to Man of Steel or BBS, and they maybe they misunderstood about Snyder's universe. Maybe I don't know.
Absolutely, definitely. I mean, I think that you're really doing yourself a disservice to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League without rewatching Man of Steel and Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition, because it's obviously in the UK it's coming out on a Thursday. But I've made a decision not to watch it until the Friday, because I feel like I need to have watched I need to watch the whole trilogy as one, because that's what it is. It's one story. It's like Lord of the Rings or something. It's intended to be this this life and death and resurrection of Superman. I really hope that people will revisit, especially Batman v Superman, as the much more controversial film. I hope they'll revisit it and hopefully see it in a new light.
Yeah. That's really, yeah.
So the second thing I wanted to talk about about this article was obviously that there were loads of pictures from the film, including one with the Joker looking very much like Jesus, with this kind of crown on his head that is very reminiscent of images from the Passion of the Christ. What do you think?
Right, a lot of people on Twitter sparked with they were just really like kind of a bit mad, but like, oh, this is Jared Leto's idea. It kind of looks like Jared Leto's idea. But what we discussed about like what Joker's going to be when we were just walking around about like he's going to be like the future yet to come, like like in Christmas Carol, like guiding Batman in a nightmare dream, like what the future's going to be if they don't start the dark side or Steppenwolf. So like him kind of look like Jesus, like like he's like the guide, like trying to throw.
He's some. It feels like he's some kind of prophet.
Yeah,
should I say?
Yeah, and it's a great juxtaposition because Joker's like the evilest like thing in the comics history. Like he's the opposite of Jesus, but then he's being Jesus in this picture, like that. So that's kind of interesting to see.
It makes sense that in this kind of nightmare world where evil reigns, that Joker being like the most evil thing would be the one to like come to the forefront, and I guess maybe he is worshipped in some capacity.
Yeah, and also another thing like like Superman, like people like you could be the answer to other worlds, or like they can see him as a god, like Superman. So then, what if like in the nightmare world they see I don't know, like Joker as the leader or something? I don't know. I just had a thought that maybe Joker could do something in the nightmare version. I don't know.
I mean, I'm very excited. I think the official runtime was just announced 4 hours, 1 minute, and 28 seconds.
Oh, 4 hours, 1 minute.
I know. I mean, ridiculous, amazing. I'm very excited to see how Joker plays into it all and how everyone plays into it all. I'm extremely, extremely excited.
Yeah, and like you said about like he was gonna have like sequels to the Justice League, right?
Yes.
So what if the Snyder Cut is like two Justice League films in one film?
I mean that is quite interesting because obviously he had a different plan for Justice League. It was originally going to be Justice League Part 1 and 2. But then they changed it so it would be Justice League 1, 2, and 3, where the first one wouldn't necessarily end on a cliffhanger. So you never know, maybe he's changed it so it does end on a cliffhanger, and you really do need... But no, it's interesting. There are some other news that we'll talk about later on, which kind of does link into whether they will kind of continue this Snyderverse. But before that, let's talk Spider-Man 3, or should I now say Spider-Man No Way Home. So we've got our first couple of promotional images showing Peter, Ned, and MJ looking at someone, and obviously the title No Way Home is now confirmed. What do you think?
Tom Holland is like saying, I don't think Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield is going to be in this film, which makes the anticipation worse. Well, I mean, like, like Flashpoint was announced like way before Spider-Man 3 was announced, like in October or November, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then they like adding to the idea that this is the multiverse film. So then, and now I feel like that Marvel and sorry, let's get a sidetrack here. But like, there's 4 Marvel films coming out this year, and and DC is just like, so it's just like another year for. I just kind of feel bad for DC. Like they're not getting their movies like properly like seen to the audience, but then Marvel was just like getting the audience attention, and you know what I mean. Like
I think nothing that they announced here made me excited. Like the title does seem like it is gonna be like it's gonna deal with the consequences from the end of Far From Home, which I think is cool. But at the same time, I'm definitely tired of the home titles. You know, like you don't like. Yes, it was cool when they did Homecoming because like it was like, oh yeah, he's back with Marvel now. But it you know, everything else since then just kind of felt like they were just being like, haha, home, and it's like, all right, thanks. Like I feel like they're really gonna have to like put something in. Like they're really gonna have to try hard to get me like properly like on board with it. And as you said, there are 4 Marvel films coming. So like, you know, assuming nothing gets delayed, there are 4 Marvel films coming this year, and it's like, you know, it like again, it feels like we're gonna have such an overload of content, 4 films about like 5 TV shows. Like I'm already getting tired of WandaVision, and we haven't even like started anything else yet.
And yeah, WandaVision is not like it's just getting. We'll talk about
WandaVision, yeah.
Like about Marvel is just getting getting overloaded right now. Like it's because they're teamed up with Disney Plus, and Disney Plus will give them more stuff to do, and yeah, like. I'm not really excited for Spider-Man 3 because I feel like Marvel is taking that route again, stealing. Well, I don't know, like taking ideas like DC, like to have like because they're quick, you know, like they do everything quickly. They're shooting Spider-Man 3 and then it's nearly wrapped up. And,
yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that, you know, like a lot of DC's projects have been like riddled with issues. I think that's like, you know, pretty annoying.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like they've been announced, but then there's not a lot of work into it. But like James Gunn, that he's shooting the Peacemaker series.
Yes.
Which I'm excited for.
It seems like they do have a lot of faith in what he's doing with the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. So So I kind of feel like for DC because DC they only have 2 films that are coming out, and it's likely that it's going to overshadow. It's going to get shadowed by Marvel, but hopefully maybe these films will. Like shine out the best films of 2021.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like DC was gonna have such a bigger year, but then they moved the Batman and Black Adam. So hopefully, Suicide Squad and Zack Snyder's Justice League can still carry, you know, them for the year, which I'm sure it will because, you know, I think you know, DC films when they're like really really good can have like a huge impact. You know, think of the Joker and think of the Dark Knight. You know, that kind of stuff. Like really made a huge impact in the year that they came out in. Yeah. So we also got some dates for some upcoming Disney Plus stuff. So like such as so the Bad Batch has a date coming out on the May the 4th with episodes.
Yay!
With episodes.
May 4th.
Yeah, so that's Star Wars Day, obviously, with episodes coming from the 7th each week on Fridays, and then Loki is starting on the 11th of June and then continuing weekly. So it seems from this that obviously the Bad Batch is like 5 months since Mandalorian ended, so that's quite, you know, good to get some Star Wars content after a while. But Loki pretty much starts like a couple weeks after Falcon and the Winter Soldier ends. Like,
really?
Yeah, they're really not like giving us much time to break. If I think correctly, Falcon and the Winter Soldier starts early March. I think the 11th of it's the 18th of March. The 19th. Sorry. So that's 2 weeks after WandaVision ends, and then I think there's 6 weeks of that. So that will take us into early May. And then, like, a couple weeks later, there'll be Loki. So there really isn't any... And then Black Widow in between Loki and Falcon and Winter Soldier. So as we were literally just saying, they really haven't... they're really relentless with the Marvel... With all the MCU content this year.
Yeah, and I feel like they're just giving it out like it's some... it's like Black Friday, you know, like they're selling out like, oh yeah, come on, get this, but then it's not like, you know, quickly, you know, what if it's not processed really good, you know what I mean, like.
Yes. I can only hope that because they had a year off, that doesn't mean that the quality gets any worse.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it could have been better if it wasn't all squeezed into 2021. I feel like they still want to kind of meet their release dates because obviously both Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision were going to be 2020 releases, but obviously they had to be moved back because of the pandemic and all that stuff.
Mm. Yeah.
Another Disney thing. We got a trailer for Pixar's next film, Luca. So this it looks like this is a film set in like an Italian town, and there are these kids who it looks like when they like go underwater, they become like sea creatures. Did you watch this trailer?
Yes, I did.
Yes. What do you think?
I think it looks pretty cool. I thought it looks a fun film for children to watch, and I don't know. I don't know what to say about. I'm not sure, but it looks fun. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely doesn't look like Soul, for example. Like,
yeah.
I remember when the first trailer for Soul came out, and I was like, "Oh my god! This is like Pixar." It looks like Pixar are gonna make like a film like for adults with a little bit of like stuff for kids sprinkled in there. Whereas this one feels like it is much more for kids, and I think it looks beautiful. Like all the animation, absolutely wonderful.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I love Pixar. I think they've made some incredible films. You know, the Toy Story films, obviously, WALL-E, stuff like that. We talk about Pixar in our Soul review video. See, I'm plugging all our videos today.
You're just bagging it out like, oh yeah, we got this. Oh, we got this covered. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Hopefully they'll put another one in the bag and not like a bit of a wet fart. Sometimes they make wet farts, you know. So our final piece of news is that finally, it feels like forever that we've kind of wanted this, even though it isn't exactly the news people expected. We are getting a new Superman film from DC, but it's not in the way that people have expected it. Obviously, people thought another Henry Cavill film, Man of Steel 2, maybe Zack Snyder. It doesn't look like this. This is going to be a J.J. Abrams produced film with Ta-Nehisi Coates, I think that's how you pronounce his name, writing, and he has written on the Black Panther comic starting in 2016. So there isn't any word on who the Superman will be, whether it's Cavill or someone else. Or the director, whether it's Snyder or someone else, but there are rumours that they will introduce a black Superman, maybe Calvin Ellis or somebody else from the comics, or a new Superman in general. J.J. Abrams had a Superman script from a while back. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is the kind of the problem because, you know, like, we see Henry Cavill as like the best Superman on screen. You know, like he has that style that you know, like from the comics, and you know what I mean. Like, yeah. So I'm kind of a bit like, oh no, really? They're making a film without Henry Cavill, but I'm hoping it will be maybe with Henry Cavill. But I just don't want anyone to replace Henry Cavill because you know.
I'm all for, obviously, you know, like they're doing stuff in DC where Flashpoint has Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck, and then the Batman has Robert Pattinson. So they're doing things where more than one Batman can exist at the same time. So I hope this is the same thing where you can have Henry Cavill Superman, you know, Tyler Hoechlin Superman from Superman and Lois, Brandon Routh Superman as seen in Superman Returns and Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then, you know, this new Superman, whoever it may be. I think a while back people suggested Michael B. Jordan was being considered and talked to Warner Brothers about playing Superman, which is cool. But yeah, I hope it's one of the things that runs alongside it, so we can still have Henry Cavill back again. Obviously, Henry Cavill has done 3 films where he plays Superman, but like, I still feel like I want the Superman film that everyone loves, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's like, you get to see. I love Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. I love his struggle in those films, but it is good to see a Superman who knows who he is, who, who is content with life and happy with everything, and doesn't have those struggles. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. I'm happy to see, but we'll see what it's like, because I'm excited to see there's going to be like a crisis film going to happen. So
yeah, that would be interesting. Bringing together all these multiverses in a film would be great. But hey, if it's not Henry Cavill, I think that's another reason why Justice League 2 would be cool, because you'd get to see Henry Cavill do Superman again.
Yeah. So yeah, more content. But a while back in before, I don't know when the Snyder Cut was announced, Snyder Cut released Snyder Cut, the trend, it was trending. There was a picture of Henry Cavill with the mustache on set, with Zack. I don't know.
Yes, there was. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see. I don't know.
Oh my god! If they did a Superman film where Henry Cavill had the mustache, that would just be the funniest thing ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, should we talk WandaVision?
Okay, WandaVision. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Episode 8. Full spoilers ahead.
This is the spoiler zone. This is the spoiler zone. Get out of here. Get out.
Just leave now, before it's too late. Because, as we all know, in this episode, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine came in. I'm kidding. I wish Hugh Jackman was in it. That'd be so cool.
And then I don't know, but if they bring back old roles like Ultron, that would be cool.
Yeah, I always thought Ultron would be in it, but I don't think maybe he is. You never know. Episode 9. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
What do you think of this episode?
And a lot of things with this episode. Right, should we just
yeah, just all right, just what did you think, first of all?
I thought it was good. I mean, nothing too special about it. But there were some great moments, but it's not really impactful as
right. Yeah, I think I was expecting so much more. So when I first watched it, I was like, "Oh my god, this is honestly a big disappointment." Since then, I think I agree with you. It's good. It's just nothing that special.
Yeah, but there's great moments in it.
I agree.
Which they impactful to the show, but I don't think it's it's nothing too special, because I feel like we've just been through this throughout the Marvel franchise. To
me it was they show us everything that we already know. In Age of Ultron, we know the story of how her and her brother, her them getting pinned down by the bomb, the Stark bomb. We know that story, so now we see it. You get we know the story of we know that she was experimented on with the Mind Stone, and now we see it. We know that she goes back to Vision and all that. And there were some really nice moments, as you said. I thought the moment where she, looks into Vision's head and she says, "I can't feel you." Calling back to Infinity War. That was a great moment.
And then the where what's happened to the audio? My audio's a bit weird. Okay, I just heard something weird. So I really liked the moment where Wanda was watching the I forgot his name, but the show, they were watching the old '90s show, and it was reflecting on the series that Wanda wanted to.
the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah. And you realise, oh right, so that's Wanda's dream world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it shows where she gets her influences from, but I didn't think I needed that. I wasn't thinking oh well, why does she like this stuff? I was that was never anything that I was too interested in to be.
Yeah, I wasn't too interested in that. I thought, okay, I thought she just wants to live like this, with Vision, and you're not interested in what happened, why is this world like this, but you're interested about why is it like this? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
not the story behind it. And I feel like this is just a recap episode. I feel like I was just a bit bored with it, and I I just wish Wanda's the villain. I really do.
Yes, me too. You know, one of the biggest things that I took from this episode was I don't like Agatha. I think she's such a mustache twirly villain who's like, let's look at your origin. Oh, you are part of the prophecy. And like, that's another, like, there were just so many, everything associated with Agatha, I just rolled my eyes at.
I just don't, okay, here's another thing I don't get about Agatha Harkness.
Yes.
Harkness. How does she know, how does she know where Wanda is? Like, literally, she... I mean, where does she know about these powers? Maybe news? I don't know. Maybe
that's a good point. It is stuff that I felt like they were just kind of like, and then this happens because they were like kind of grasping at straws to try and tell us this story. And I was thinking, this, like, all these different things could have been told throughout the show, you know? You make each episode 5 minutes longer and you plug this in as like a flashback thing, you know? How many times did we say, oh, the episode was fine, but why are they still doing the sitcom stuff? If you take out a load of that sitcom stuff, you could, like, replace it with some of these character building moments that I think would work spread out instead of, like, all clumped together in one show.
Yeah, and then another thing about, like, Agatha's background. I mean, what was the year? 1609 in Boston, Massachusetts, where no, Salem, where I've been, and I thought, okay, that's a cool thing, but then it didn't really set out the motivation for Agatha to have, like, to do with Wanda. Like, she's just like, oh, I want to be good, but then was like, no, you can't be good. So then that kind of confused me about, like, Agatha. Like, okay, what's her end game? What does she want to do about, like, what the secret? But then she's in 1609, and the motivation's like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. You know what I mean? Like, it's that time.
It like, okay, so she was. I mean, they kind of set it up as if she was being part of a witch trial, which I guess she was.
Yeah, she was.
And you've. You've got that she's this powerful witch who was forsaken by her other witches, but it's like, I don't feel like they crafted a compelling villain who I could relate to, you know? She was so just kind of like, you know, Dr. Evil, you know, like, if I can, like, you know, like, compare it to Austin Powers, she was very, like, muhahaha the whole time, you know?
Yes, and I killed Spark. No.
Yes, of course, that at the end of the last episode.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I didn't like her outfit either. You know, at the end, she's wearing this, like, obviously it's supposed to be like this kind of, like, witch's kind of, like, outfit. I just didn't like it. I thought it was just, like, ridiculous in the wrong way.
I just don't think Agatha Harkness is just not an impactful character to show. She's just like, Dad, she's like, oh, it's me! You know, you knew, you never expected.
It's like they need someone in there to be the big bad, and I think you never need that. Like, you know, like, this show would have worked so much better if the conflict came from, like, the protagonists themselves, their internal conflict becoming an external conflict instead of someone else coming in. And one of the things that I did not like at all was Agatha bringing up the whole, you know, saying to Wanda, you're the Scarlet Witch. You are part of this prophecy. You know, like, it's like, you don't have to be part of a prophecy.
You don't have to be I don't know.
It makes me think of, like, okay, spoilers for Rise of Skywalker, anyone who hasn't watched Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. It's like saying Rey's a Palpatine instead of just being Rey is just a person. Like, Wanda is now part of this ridiculous, like, you know, like, prophecy and myth, instead of just being, like, somebody who gets powers and has to deal with that. Instead, now she's part of this thing, and I really hated how much, like, they were so proud of themselves that they said Scarlet Witch. She's like, you are, turns to camera, Scarlet Witch, and then it cuts to black, and it was like, honestly, I did not think it was that impactful. Like,
yeah, I did not. I was like, oh, Scarlet Witch. Oh,
great.
Right. But where where's this prophecy? Where is it? I mean, like Vincent in Pulp Fiction, like he's just looking around.
He's looking around like what? Yeah, no, and it just felt like it felt like a bottle episode in the fact that it did some stuff of character, which was cool, but it didn't progress the story at all. Monica didn't have one scene, no Pietro, no Vision. I mean, yes, there was Vision from the past, but still, the last we saw of Vision in real life was he flies into the air, and then that's it. Obviously, we have this.
In the air.
In the end credit scene, there was this white Vision.
I mean, okay. Another thing I didn't like was is that like there could be another force of evil, but then it's just Agatha herself. Some fans were speculating that Mephisto.
Yes.
There's not. Mephisto's not going to be in this.
I mean, I guess they could still introduce him in episode 9, but I hope they don't, because that it would just be like so cluttered and so out of the blue.
It's not really. It's not getting there. It's like it's a bit broken right now. And also, like, she was talking about Pietro, like the fake brother, and she didn't explain that at all. She didn't explain where did she.
She was just like, oh yeah, he's fake. He's fake. I was the eyes and ears. It doesn't make sense. Like, it's just so random that they would bait us with the whole X-Men connection. And then oh, actually, it has nothing to do with the X-Men. It's like, well, why? Like, that people are going to be, excited about that. Why would you do that in the first place,
Yeah, I was just let down. I was like, you could have...
Me too, man. And
you could have introduced something unique here.
Yeah, I think that, it was an opportunity for Marvel to really break that formula, but it's become so formulaic to the point where I'm dreading episode 9, because I know it's just going to be good Vision versus bad Vision, good witch versus bad witch, and Monica and Pietro are also there. I just know that is what it's going to be. It's just going to be a mindless battle, and I really hope it isn't.
I feel like Monica and Pietro are just there, the supporting characters. No, don't do this, don't fight.
Right, exactly.
No.
And it's it's like a load of the original MCU films. Iron Man, where Iron Man fights a bad Iron Man, or Ant-Man, where Ant-Man fights a bad Ant-Man. It's just people with the same powers fighting each other, and that is exactly what it's going to be. Vision fights the evil white Vision. Scarlet Witch fights Agatha, who is another witch. I did find it interesting that Agnes was saying, oh, I can't believe you didn't know that I have these runes, to stop her from using her powers. She makes the point that Wanda doesn't know what she's doing with her powers at all. And I think that's how Doctor Strange is going to work. I think Wanda is going to be Doctor Strange's apprentice instead of the villain, which is so disappointing. But whatever, I guess, that's just how it is now.
That Wanda is the powerful. I mean, I don't know. Another thing about I don't know, but what was I going to say? Oh yeah, about it's just not breaking the formula. It's just going back in a loop. And also, I thought Stranger Things, we raise questions what happened here, because that's exciting, you're thinking and questioning, and then and it stops, and it's just it makes you excited, doesn't it? The end of the episode is what the heck's happened?
Yeah, it reminds me of how halfway through WandaVision they answered all the questions.
It did.
It's they do that in Stranger Things, but how they do it is. Yeah. In season 1, it's they say, oh, no, Will didn't go to the Upside Down, he's dead. But then the interesting thing is the fact that the characters, they refuse that reality, specifically Joyce, and then you find out that Will is just a fake being created. And then it becomes even more interested, whereas WandaVision took it back to the status quo where everyone went into the Hex.
Yeah, and it's show, not tell. But it's in reverse way, show, not tell. No, it's tell, not show.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that's happening. And I feel oh, right, so it's not impactful what Wanda's doing. She's like, oh, I want to do this for Vision. And another thing about Vision is that Wanda didn't bring Vision back to life. She brought Vision, like, with her powers. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, she created a new Vision. I thought that was a good scene, you know, where she, you know, she goes to the home, she has a little cry, and then she makes the whole town and she recreates Vision. I think that was very interesting, but it's like, at that point, I'd sat through like 40 minutes of the episode, and I was just like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like, I can't believe, like, this is like the best part of the episode, and it's like, you know, everything else was like so much worse. And people really are enjoying it, and I don't understand that.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
Twitter. Oh my! I don't like Twitter. Like talking about Marvel, they have like capitals on, like on caps, all caps. Like, oh my god, this is so cool. The
amount of people who are just like, oh, I cried at the scene, and I'm like, that was such an emotionally flat scene. I did not get anything from it.
And then one of them said they're crying at the parallel. Like, oh no.
Yeah, it's like yes, okay, I'm really glad that people are enjoying it, but I really, really don't get it. Like I thought that episode 4 of WandaVision was a masterpiece for the most part, and then everything after that has really gone downhill for me. I don't think this, you know.
I just feel like it's gone a mess right now, but I don't know. But next week,
hopefully they can fix it in the finale, even if it's just a fun cameo with whoever this mystery guest star is that they keep on teasing.
You know, it could be. I don't know. I just feel like it's just a bit broken, and I think we can predict what's going to happen next week in the finale. And but if it's something so unexpected, something that can twist the whole series, I don't know. Maybe it will be something impactful, like something that has had a hitting meaning in the.
Who knows? You know, it's always good when you can look back on things and get more out of them. So I hope. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to rewatch this show for a long time. Maybe when Doctor Strange 2 comes out. But like, you know, I at least hope that they have stuff that will, you know, make me think better of the other episodes.
Yeah, of course. Something that to make it special.
Yeah. Shall we talk about Watchmen now?
Please talk about Watchmen, because I had a great time watching WandaVision. Sorry,
neither.
You know, in my room, it's something special. I don't know. Is that okay? It's just bugging me. That's all. Right.
All right.
Please, can we just talk about Watchmen?
Let's do it, man.
I'm just sick. I'm just sick of the WandaVision and the stands on Twitter.
Yeah. I am also sick of that. Let's talk Zack Snyder's third film, Watchmen. Definitely his best film yet. Yeah,
I can tell. Like, it is. Like what we said about the graphic novel, it is a masterpiece, and I think Zack Snyder has topped that into the best adaptation. Possibly, like, in a comic book adaptation.
It's a very, very good adaptation, you know. So many of the shots, like, straight away, so many of the shots are, like, shot-for-shot remakes, word for word, and, you know, they play around with it a bit, of course they do, but it's done, like, in a really, really cool way, with, like, cinematography that, like, you really see how Snyder's, like, his style has developed from Dawn of the Dead to 300 to Watchmen in like such a really interesting way, I thought.
Yeah, it's like evolving, you know what I mean? Like, you can see like stages of like Zack Snyder's films, and it's just so interesting to see. Especially in Watchmen, because it's like it's very hard like to do comic book adaptations, because, you know, like in films they change it, they change the character's motivation, or they change the background or something. For example, like there's a film called We Need to Talk About Kevin, but that's in a different form, and in the book Kevin, the mother Eva is writing letters in this book, but then they change that. You know what I mean? Like they change all the
and they do change certain things. Like you don't get some of the interludes in the graphic novel.
of course.
In the graphic novel, if you haven't read it, read it. It's incredible. But there are loads of interludes of like reports or snippets from extracts of books, and
I feel like
it's great for the history and the context of the story.
Yeah, I feel like you need to read that because it is like very impactful to the comic book. Like you're reading for these characters, but Snyder here, he just did it perfectly. Like
he did. There were loads of small details that I really appreciated
especially when Vite was like touring around in his tower, or I don't know what his business place.
Yeah.
And then in the background there's an elevator song. We can wait. What was the song?
Everybody wants to rule the world.
Yeah, everybody wants to rule the world, and it's really cool because
yes.
I like that because
agree.
It reflects on the characters like Vite as well. Like Vite wants to solve the problems in like the Cold War, because the Cold War in that time in that Ultimate Universe is very, very high. Like the tensions are very high.
Yeah.
And like humanity itself. So
that's really cool. And there's also like I think the music is used really well. Obviously, there's the opening montage. Times they are a changing, and it shows the development of time and how superheroes have gone from
that is such a great thing. Like
brilliant.
An intro to the film.
It's brilliant.
Like
so many incredible shots.
Yeah, beautiful shots, like slow motion, and then in the introduction you can see like an impression of David Bowie.
Yes.
Do I say his name properly? I keep saying it.
Some people say Bowie. It's Bowie. But yeah, there is a David Bowie in there, and in one of the opening scenes, you see somebody stopping a mugger who's about to kill.
Yes.
What is
this is pretty cool detail as well?
Yeah. Like, what is like an insert of Thomas and Martha Wayne? Like it's like superheroes have saved them and like prevented Batman. That's quite a really fun Easter egg.
Yeah, that's a cool alternate universe you can see there.
Definitely.
Maybe Flashpoint. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's get into that.
I mean, obviously now that Doomsday Clock is a thing, where they crossed over Watchmen and the DC universe, maybe that was Batman. But yeah, one of the musical moments that I love the most, and there are so many. Hallelujah is a great scene as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. One of the ones that I love the most is in there is a part where they reference Dr. Manhattan's involvement in Vietnam, and it cuts to Dr. Manhattan in this incredible shot of the Viet Cong running for their lives, and Dr. Manhattan, this giant, like, godlike being behind them, like, with the Ride of the Valkyries playing, which is such an epic song, and it acts as a reference to Apocalypse Now, which uses that song as in a similar Vietnam War setting, but also it references the comic, where in the comic there is an extract from the book that the old Night Owl wrote, where he talks about the song Ride of the Valkyries, and he's like, have you ever heard this song? This is what this feels like. And so I love some of those things that if you've read the comic, and in the Ultimate Edition of the film, in the comic book there's a young boy at a comic store who's reading a comic, right?
Yeah.
In the Ultimate Edition of the film, that comic is in there, and there are animated interludes. That
is great.
Yeah, very cool.
Very cool. Like that story, that sub story of what was the guy called that he was like trapped on an island and then.
Yeah, I know who you mean. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, but that's very impactful because it reflects on Vite's backstory as well. Like,
yeah,
he wanted to do this to become this person, and then like his parents died, and
I will say, obviously we watched the theatrical cut, so we haven't seen the director's cut, but I will say one of the things that I did feel was missing was Veidt, obviously he was there, but I didn't feel like he wasn't the same kind of villain that he was in the comics, in the sense that he had like 4 scenes before his like master plan is revealed, and in the comic I feel like he is such a bigger presence, and you understand his motivation so much more, and you feel the betrayal so much more in the comic. I just feel like the film doesn't give enough time for him. Maybe the director's cut does, but I think, I think everyone are so, like, all the characters are really great juxtapositions of, the Batman archetype, the Superman archetype, the female hero archetype, all these people are really good, like, juxtapositions of those stereotypes. But, like, I just think that Veidt comes across a bit too mustache twirly, generic villain, while everyone else are these really nuanced, like, deep characters, Yeah,
I see what you mean. And then, so the comic, like, it really that by is like a very a character that you wouldn't expect. Like, he's right, but also wrong about, like, he killed 3 million people. But another thing that changed in the movie was that they put the blame on Dr. Manhattan.
They do. So in the comic, if you haven't read it, again, read it.
It's great.
They use a squid, which Veidt pretends is from space. He makes the public think that this squid is from space, and then...
But though, it's from somewhere, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember where it's from. But like, he uses that as the blame instead of Dr. Manhattan.
And that like is a very realistic moment, because it really stopped the Cold War, and then like the news and everything. Like,
everyone comes together in peace, and I think it's incredibly interesting how they do it in the film. How it is Dr. Manhattan, and how Dr. Manhattan has to accept the public's hatred of him and fear of him in order for, the peace to resume.
You can see that throughout the film. Like, the public do not like Dr. Manhattan, and then you can see, like, the outrages that he has, and But like, my favorite moment was like the Dr. Manhattan background, the backstory, and his out of order. Like, it's so similar to the chapter that I really, really love reading. Like,
it's one of the best chapters in the comic.
Yeah, and it's just so. Really, it's really satisfying, like, reading, like, it's out of order, but like it's weird though, because like he was like Dr. Manhattan was shaking hands with John F. Kennedy, and he said that moment he felt that the president got shot in his head,
right, yeah,
like, yeah,
he saw the future.
Yeah, that's weird, like, so. Yeah, and I thought Zack did that really well.
Yeah, there are some really cool bits of like history that they add in there. You have the comedian being involved in the shooting of John F. Kennedy in some respect. You have, obviously, Dr. Manhattan's interference with the Vietnam War, leading to Nixon being elected for 8 terms.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, like, all very interesting, like, uses of history. Some of my favourite stuff in comic book films, I think of X-Men First Class, where they use the Cuban Missile Crisis, and they shift it, and they say, what if the X-Men were involved somehow, and the Hellfire Club and stuff, and they do that in this film. But what I love so much about it is that this was, the graphic novel was written in the 80s as it was happening, so you feel like it is from this perspective. You feel the fear, you feel the fact that, the graphic novel is being written and the film is being shown in a sense where they could literally, like, you feel like the writing reflects the fact that nuclear war, World War III, could start at any moment.
Yeah, that's really scary. Like,
definitely.
The clock, and that's just beyond scary. It's like so terrifying to think about, and the comic does that perfectly well. and both comics endings, both the film and the comic, like they had the great ending, like the what if, like they had Rorschach's diary, and it raises a lot of questions about it. But then, like you don't want to see what happens, but you kind of do. Like what happens to Rorschach's diary? So there's Doomsday Clock, which actually reveals what happened to Rorschach, but then there's the other one, Watchmen, the TV show, which shows there's a cult for Rorschach,
Yes.
like diary. Yeah, so you can see like a different things that you can go like different ways that you'd see. It's very weird. It's very interesting, but yeah, see how the ending goes. Yeah,
but yeah, I want to say that Rorschach is a very interesting character. And it makes sense that in, the Watchmen sequel show, he would be the person who there's a cult of, because he has these, like, such extreme views, but at the same time, he seems to be the only one who wants to do the right thing, especially at the end. They all accept that they have to keep this lie in order for peace to be maintained, and Rorschach's the only one who says, no, I'm not gonna keep this lie, because that's not fair. And obviously, he pays with it for his life.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like what he wanted to do. Like he wanted to change, really. I think that both in the comics and the film, and yeah. So what else? Yeah, I just really love like the style that went into this film, and it felt like very. It's like Watchmen is like. The most realistic thing about like comic books, like forget about the fancy superhero stuff. Like this is the most realistic one, and it's most impactful to the comic book history. And
definitely, like this. Obviously, it created a whole different like subgenre of superheroes. It influences, like you can see like huge influences upon things like The Boys. Obviously, the film influenced. The Snyder DC films, it has an impact that kind of ripples, throughout, like, and there's a debate to be had. The Watchmen TV show was super controversial because people, were unsure of how the thought the characters were handled well or not well. It's a film that evokes it's a story that evokes a conversation.
Yeah, and it's very like philosophical. It's like philosophical about the comic, like. Alan Moore adds this to think about what happens today, like to think about, yeah. So it's very impactful to what's happening, and yeah. So right, what do we give this film rating?
I mean, I think I'm gonna go 8 out of 10, and I think that because to me the ending, like. It at points it becomes a bit too formulaic, a bit too the final boss. They fight the villain. The villain explains his master plan. Obviously there are things that subvert that. They can't stop it. They have to live with this lie. Rorschach dies. Dr. Manhattan just leaves. Like that stuff is super interesting, but I just think that some of the issues come with that like final act being a little bit, formulaic, and Veidt isn't as,
impactful.
He isn't as impactful or as developed as he is in the comic. I should watch the director's cut. I think it's probably worth seeing whether that fixes those issues that I have. But other than that, I mean, like, it has a really, really interesting conversation, and it presents some like extremely like multi-layered and intriguing characters.
Yeah, and it's weird, like the actors are very, very look-alike in the film, like from the comics to the film.
The actors are incredibly well cast, especially. I mean, the guy who plays Rorschach, there are some like amazing scenes, like in the prison where he slams the tray of oil in the or whatever it's called, like the basket of oil in the guy's face, and he's like, "You have to understand, you're not stuck. I'm not stuck here with you. You're stuck here with me." That's like, there's some really, really like cool stuff, and it is cool. And one of the things that I love the most is. throughout the film, you see people doing horrific things, killing, like, especially the comedian, killing a pregnant lady, like, firing on innocent civilians, but it's framed in a really cool way. What's, like, so interesting is, especially Silk Spectre and Night Owl have, like, they get so much joy out of, like, beating up people, and it's and there's a contrast between the epic music, the epic cinematography. A lot of people say that Zack Snyder doesn't understand the comic because he presents really horrible things in a cool way, but I think that that's intentional. I think that they show that the characters need this life, that they value this life even though it's so horrible. I mean, you see in the Hallelujah scene, obviously, when they almost have sex earlier in the film, Night Owl has performance issues, but then he beats up some people and he's fine. They're loving it. It's very interesting how they need this kind of life, and it's such a horrible life as well, but without it, they don't feel like they are anything,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so I would give this an 8. Yeah. So it's very, very interesting to see how Zack developed this from a comic, and it's very cool to and it's cool to watch, but like it's very dark as well. But
go on.
I feel like it's a really cool introduction to the comic. Like, I didn't read the comic before. Like, I watched the film first.
Okay.
Comic, and I was like, "Whoa, the comic's just amazing." Yeah.
Yes, I remember when you got the comic. Yeah. I read the comic first. And, I did see that it was a wonderful thing. And, so many people talk about, oh, Zack Snyder's films are so grim and they don't have any, like, comedy and stuff. I don't... Obviously, that is a valid point. Some people don't like that, but I don't care at all. I think that, the characters and the scenes and the plot, they speak volumes, more than, like, a bit of character banter can. I get so much more from characters, like, going through struggles than I ever will, like, having them all be, like, quipping about like they do in the Marvel films, even though, those films, for the most part, fit those kind of, like, jokey personalities.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Like, there's a lot to see, yeah, so that's a very... I like the Zack Snyder films, so, yeah.
Definitely. I think... He's going strong, Like, obviously, we're gonna skip Sucker Punch and Legend of the Guardians and go straight to Man of Steel next week. But he's doing really well. He's creating some really interesting. There's a lot to say, Like, sometimes, if you've been following the podcast for a while, you will see that sometimes we've kind of struggled to talk about films that there isn't a lot to talk about. But say what you want about Snyder's films, there is so much to talk about. There's so much to unpack, and it's so interesting.
Yeah, so interesting to talk about, and it's like really fun to talk about them. Yeah, so next week, Man of Steel.
Man of Steel, I'm very excited. Like, obviously we'll talk about it next week, but it's one of my favorite comic book films of all time. Well, I just put that out there because, like, I'm so excited for that one. But yes,
I feel like we are going to talk about BVS, but I feel BVS is the best one, I believe.
Okay, cool. I love them, but I like Man of Steel just a little bit more, It's and I think that's only because Man of Steel made me cry. And John, you know me, I don't cry at many films, so like it really has a special place in my heart. Although I expect to cry at the Snyder Cut, like some of the stuff that they've spoken about the ending for Autumn, like, dude, that's gonna make me go. I just expect it will. Yeah. Let's talk weekly viewing, shall we?
Yes, weekly viewing.
Well, I wanna go first because I wanna come straight off a Snyder discussion. I read 300.
300.
Yes. So.
Wait. Where'd you read it?
My dad had it, so I didn't know this.
Wait, your dad had it?
Yeah. So I was talking. So this is a comic that he's got squirreled away. It's not like on his shelf downstairs. So I was talking to him about watching 300, and he was like, "Have you read the comic?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Oh, I've got it. Read it. It's and I really enjoyed it. It's pretty short. It's very like visual, but you can see like how Snyder in the film he translated the visuals so very well, and I really enjoyed it. And I think it's a wonderful read. And obviously Alan Moore, obviously also wrote Watchmen. The man knows how to write comics so well, and he presents some really interesting discussions. However, I do think I preferred 300 the film. And that's only because the comic, it doesn't have some of those deeper things. Like, in the film, they've got the whole story about the man and his son. And then like the son dies and the captain's like super like angry and depressed and upset about it, and it says so much about like he never told his son that he loved him and stuff like that. You don't have that in the comic, unfortunately. You don't have the whole subplot with the Queen and her trying to persuade the politicians to get the army. And I think the debate about masculinity that 300 presented was my favourite stuff in that film. So I think, in that story, should I say. So I definitely recommend reading it. It's beautiful. The visuals are great. The story's great. But I think I did prefer the film.
Yeah, the film. I can see the film there. It's just very aesthetically pleasing to watch. And Frank Miller, I think he wrote 300, I believe.
No, it was Alan Moore.
Wait, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Frank Miller who wrote that.
No, it's Alan. I mean, I think it's Alan Moore.
Let me just check. I think it is Frank Miller.
Ooh,
but
who is it? Who's right? It might be Frank Miller. Now I'm going back on myself.
Yeah, it's Frank Miller.
Oh, God damn it! I was wrong. No.
Oh, you son of a gun!
I was wrong all along. I'll never that rhymes. I'll never do anything right ever again. No, I was thinking of Watchmen, that's written by Alan Moore. But my point still stands. Frank Miller also writes great stuff.
Yeah, especially the Dark Knight Returns.
Oh yeah, wonderful.
Like about Snyder, how he looks back on comic books and he fully understands them, and he wants to find a way to present them on screen in a very different way, like the cinematography or the art direction. Yeah, it's just very interesting to see how Zack Snyder does these.
There are two things in preparation for rewatching the Snyder films. There are two things that I'm going to read. I'm going to read Death of Superman. So I've already read Death of Superman, and I'm going to read like the others that come to the Return of Superman. And then I'm going to read Dark Knight Returns, because those are two big influences, especially on Batman v Superman and Justice League. So yeah. So what have you watched or read or whatever this week?
Funny enough, I watched a short film that Zack Snyder did.
Me too. I know you're on about.
I forgot the name, but I'll get it now.
Steam.
It's Snow, Steam, Iron.
I knew it. Steam.
My God, it is insane how he showed that he did this on an iPhone.
Yeah.
And this was 3 years ago. This was 3 years ago, and iPhone 11 wasn't there back then, because obviously it wasn't there. Yeah. And it is just insane how he did this. Like, the camera, like, for the iPhone is just high, it's top notch, and it is visually pleasing to watch. Like, I think Zack Snyder knows how to do, like, visual storytelling on a different level. You understand it straight away, and it is so engaging to see. And it's only 4 minutes long. Only 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It's so engaged on what's happening, and there's some great shots in the short film, and like he turns into the shot like, oh, okay, that's like a bowl of water, but then the bowl of water is just weird, it's so satisfying to see, and it's slow motion, and it just inspires me to do like short films on an iPhone, and so I would recommend watching this. It's only 4 minutes long, and it is not. I think it's so much it's like I can't say it out. It is only a little bit in your time, it's
It's short. It's short and it's on YouTube. Watch it.
Yes, watch. I can't speak today.
I mean, let's be honest.
Right.
Let's be honest, John. Can you ever speak?
No. Right, Tom. What have you watched as well this week?
All right. Okay. I want to just say I watched what is now my 5th favorite film of all time. I've always had, for so long, I've had a top 4. For those of you who don't know, my top 4: Back to the Future, Schindler's List, La La Land, Spider-Verse, and I finally found a film that is like. Okay, so it's called Your Name, right?
Oh yes, this.
Have you seen it?
No, but I'm gonna watch it.
Okay.
It's anime.
It's on Netflix, right? It's on UK Netflix.
Tell me. Why is this your 5th favorite film of all time?
I mean, why isn't? Okay, so I want to make it very clear. I don't rewatch films a lot. I'm somebody who, like, I watch franchises like sometimes maybe once every 2 years or so, but if I watch a film, I don't rewatch it. But I watched this film on Monday. I watched this film on Monday, and I rewatched it on Friday. Like, it was that good that I just had to watch it again. It is wonderful. It's incredibly emotional. It's playful, and it's, it's a love story. The characters have a really nice rapport going, and the best part about it is that they don't meet. There's so many montages which show like the connection forming, and it's all told in this beautiful animation style. This anime style in Tokyo, with some incredible shots and some like really really beautiful music. But it really comes together with the twists that it throws at you. It presents this pretty, like, mythical concept. It plays with time a little bit and space. And then it throws twists at you that really tugs at the heartstrings. And, it really is this tear-jerking film that is super emotional. And, it's the kind of film that, it eggs you on. It teases you things, being like, oh, are they going to do that? No, it's a very will they won't they kind of situation, but told in this really like nuanced way that uses like a time tension, especially in the 3rd act, really really well. You're on the edge of your seat because of the emotions, but you're also gripped by the power of the storytelling and the way that these two people experience each other's lives, and the way that each one has to like find stuff out about each other, and the way that they that changes their own lives and how they interact, and it starts really like this kind of like rom-com kind of way, and then it transitions into this like brutal, like incredibly sad story that if it's on your Netflix, if it's on Prime, it's on UK Netflix, everyone in the UK, you have to watch it. It's one of the best things that I've ever seen ever. It was so good. I can't recommend it enough. 10 out of 10 without a shadow of a doubt.
Right. Wow. That is like on a level like talking about like favorite films. It's just so fun to talk about favorite films too.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I okay. So I'm gonna watch that as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what else have I watched this week? Right. So no. So I've been playing a game called Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh yes, of course. You told me that you'd ordered that.
Yes, and wow, it's so much fun to play. Like, if you're playing these multiplayer games, I understand you. They're just like competitive. But this Super Mario Odyssey, it is one of the best games I played on the Nintendo Switch. Like, I'm still playing it right now, and without a doubt, I just love it so far. It's just like a game that is just like. It's just like a reminiscence of like the old Super Mario games that I played on the DS and the Wii, and this one takes on a different level. Like, it's just like a combination of like if you play Super Mario Galaxy, that is just so good to play. But then that adds to Super Mario Odyssey, and there's a lot of new game mechanics that add to that into that game, and it's just so engaging to play. And and there's a lot of boss battles that I really like in the game. That is just super easy, and it's just really fun. And then there's like collectibles that you need to get, and they're also fun to get. Like if you need to do this and do that, to get just one place to another. And there's like a lot of secrets that I really really like, that you wouldn't see in a Mario game. And then you got this assistant, Cappy, who's your like Mario's hat. But like you use this cap to get everything, and then you can be one of the henchmen in this Mario franchise. Like you could be a Goomba, you could be a Rocket, you could be like a Koopa Troopa, and it's just funny to see, and it's just a wonderful game to play. I give this. I want to give this a 10 or a 9, but
Nice.
It's just so fun to play, really.
Great. I mean, I'd love a Nintendo Switch. So if I do, I'll definitely, if I ever get a Switch, I'll definitely be knocking on your door asking to play that, to borrow it.
Of course,
Because
I'm happy to give you.
It sounds great.
Or what was the other one? Super Mario, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Oh wait, what? Excuse me. They made a Mario Rabbids crossover.
Let me say it again. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
What? Oh my god! If anyone, we used to play Raven Rabbids Go Home, was it?
Yes, Go Home.
We used to play Raven Rabbids Go Home all the time.
That made my childhood so much better. Like everything that it was like a silly game to play, but it's so much fun. Like you need these islands to get to the moon. Man,
brilliant! What a game!
And then Raven Rabbids 2. That's a fun game to play with friends. And what else? So I'll give you Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Like, it's so much fun to see these two franchise to merge together, and Rabbids are just so much fun.
And they said that Infinity War was the most ambitious crossover. Ambitious, what do they know?
It's a fun game. What else? That'll be it from me from the weekly viewing. Tom?
I'm gonna say the same. Let's end it there, shall we?
Yeah, let's end it there.
Thank you everyone for watching.
We've been through the struggle of watching WandaVision, but also discussing the greatest moments of Zack Snyder's films.
Definitely. If you wanna, tell us about your thoughts on anything or ask us any questions, anything like that, you can send us an email at outattimefilmpod@gmail.com. For the answering. Go on.
Sorry. If you want to rant, like, oh no, this film's the greatest film of all time.
If you want to argue at us, please do. We love a good debate.
You really love a good film debate. It's just it's fun. What else?
You can also get in touch with us on Twitter or Instagram at outattimefilmpod, or just follow us there. Same. I'm on Tom the Boardman on Twitter.
I am Comedy John 42.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are Tom the Boardman on Twitter. Yes,
it's true. I cannot deny that as a fact. Obviously, next week we're going to be doing Man of Steel. So get excited for that. I know that loads of people love the Snyder DC films with a passion. So do we. So get excited for some, major shilling of those films.
Really chilling.
I mean, it is shilling. I mean, like, I do shill them a little bit, but there you go. And thank you everyone for the support on the 300 video. I think right now it's standing at 170 views. Which is crazy.
What was the view again?
300 is now on 207 views. Wow.
What?
And similarly, Dawn of the Dead is at 102 views. Amazing. So thank you everyone who has watched those.
Again, thank you. And if you want to share this to a fellow film lover, please do, because we just love to talk about films all day. And,
anyone who wants to, send send us an email. We love talking to people whenever. On the rare occasion we do get sent emails, but yes, we love the discussion. So please challenge our thoughts. We are literally
Alex!
opening to it.
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted, indeed.
Yeah.
Final episode of WandaVision next week, and then Man of Steel, and then the week after that, Batman v Superman. And then I have decided that on the day that we do the Snyder Cut, we're not going to do any news. We're not going to do weekly viewing. We're not going to do Falcon. We're just going to do an hour and a bit, maybe 2 hours, just talking about the Snyder Cut.
Especially the Snyder Cut. This is a very a massive film to tackle through.
Yes, there'll be a lot to talk about, so we're just going to get started straight away. We'll do the intro and then, so get excited for that, because I'm excited. I know you're excited, John.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Like, I'm gonna buy the stuff to like Blu-rays or posters.
Hey, did you see the Funko Pops?
Yeah,
they just
black and white.
Yeah, they just revealed some black and white ones. They look pretty cool. I'm waiting for some statues, hopefully.
Statues.
Of Darkseid and Black Suit Superman and Nightmare Batman. It's just like so many things that I'm just so hyped to see. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. It's gonna be really awesome, and that'll be it from me today from the pod.
As always, stay safe and all of that.
Please wear a mask.
Yeah, we'll be going back to college soon.
And we'll be staying safe and
hopefully
wash hands.
And hopefully in May we'll be able to. I mean, this is assuming that everything goes to plan in the UK, but hopefully in May we'll be able to come back together and record the pod in person. Whoa,
yes!
What a twist. We haven't recorded the pod in person since episode 4, if you can believe it, when we talked about our favourite video games.
Oh, yeah, that was a fun topic to talk about. That was so fun. Yeah.
Definitely.
So thank you for listening today. If you're a WandaVision fan or a film lover fan or anime fan, thank you for listening. We just love doing this. Yeah.
Definitely. And so without further ado, take what you're given.
Yes, nothing back.
Goodbye.
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 Bye.
Bye.
I feel like every week we want to get the final.
Please.
What? Subscribe as well and like.
Oh yeah, subscribe.
We always forget to say like and subscribe because it's just like
if you
smash that like button, please.
Yeah, if you dislike that button, what are your life choices there? I mean, you think what other things you can do, like or dislike. But if you like, there are great things in life you can do, like things.
You can give us money. That's what I mean. Not yet. We need like 1,000 subscribers to make revenue. But we should totally be ending this. But I just want to say we also got 5,000 views on our Mulan video. Thanks everyone. That's great.
That is it. Thank you.
You sound so done. Okay, goodbye everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.